tuning in. You are listening to Conversations with the Citizen.
Hi, and welcome to another week of Get Your House in Order. I'm your host, Bren. The information provided on this podcast is not intended to be legal advice, but to inform you of the importance of getting your house in order by making a plan that will establish your legacy for the protection of you and your family. If you need help in any area that we discuss during this podcast, you can give me a call at 773-817-0601 or give me a call and we can chat if there's something that we have not expanded enough on you. Thank you. And this afternoon, what we're going to talk about, and it's a little different than the financial planning that usually we do talk about, but it's something that I think that is very important, very germane for the time that we have, as they say, in times like these. Looking at what truths do you need to know today? What truths? There's so many falsehoods, fake news, whatever. What are some of the basic truths? And I'm going to narrow this down to some very primal attitudes that we as people, we as individuals need to focus on to bring about the changes that we would like to have to improve our world, our affairs, circumstances, and conditions in family, in community, your workplace. What are the truths that you need to know today? And I boiled it down to one of the reasons for so much dissension and so much discord is that too often we focus on differences and not samenesses. If we focused on samenesses, and quite frankly, I do believe that we are more alike than we are different, whether it be racially, whether it be age-wise, whether it be economics, any of the ways that you would like to stratify it. There's more samenesses than there are differences. The same fundamental human needs are there. My mother had a formula that she used. She said there are 5 basic, and she called them the 5 A's, that all human beings needed. And I'm going to share that with you. All human beings need to be given attention. They need to receive acceptance. They need to know that they are appreciated. They need to know that they're loved. That would be the affection. And in their actions, they need to know that there has been approval. When it comes to basics, we all eat, we all sleep, we all laugh, there's some things that are very, very common. Yet, in our groupings, we like to say, I'm a this and you're a that, and never the twain should meet. And the truth is, these are artificial boundaries that we put that keep us from knowing each other, where we can share those commonalities. Because I'm on the south side and you live on the west side. They used to call Dan Ryan the Great Divide. Ridiculous. We're all made in the image and likeness of God. Some believe it, some don't. So we have a sameness when we come in this world. but it is through living that we create these differences, these artificial barriers that keep me from knowing and loving my neighbor as we have been admonished to do. I have with us here Miss Tia Jones.
Hi,
and
everybody.
and Tia and I are going to have a little discussion on how some of these differences cause great problems. We right now have a huge problem. I don't know if I think the Orange Man calls it the Fury excursion. What kind of excursion? Excursion is supposed to be something that would be good.
A vacation.
Yeah. Something that would be good. I see nothing. These are incongruent. Fury and excursion there's no way that I can assimilate that.
Right.
So in our communities, we have these dichotomies, these changes of you live on this side of the street, I live on that side of the street, never the twain should meet. What do you think, Tia, that we can do as individuals on a day-to-day basis to bring us closer together rather than to try to keep us separated?
I think that we should talk to each other more. I think that people don't know their neighbors. So how can you be in community with somebody that you don't know? So I think that's a big one. We have to be willing to put ourselves out there to say hello to people and get to know them.
And these opportunities present themselves. As they say, I'm a walkie-talkie. If you are standing in line in front of me or standing beside me or standing behind, wherever, if you're anywhere close to me, very seldom in a line do I not engage individuals. And that is, I think, what you're talking about.
Right.
When you engage people, and it may not even be a meaningful conversation, it might be something very slight and trite, but you are acknowledging them, that acknowledgement.
Right, yeah. And you don't know, the conversation might seem small to you, but that might be the word that person needed for the day.
Mm-hmm. That encouragement or that acceptance.
Right.
I see you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I have done, and children that I see that are out, and it's engaging them. And I find now that children are less engageable.
Mm-hmm.
Babies, just a cold blank stare. You know, it used to be you could do a peekaboo and engage them or something. You would be able to engage them. But now it's like their hearts are hardened. I don't know this world. And being a queenager, I am looking for that engagement. It used to be a kinder, gentler society in our community. We as African American people always were helping each other because we knew we were in the same boat. Doctors and lawyers lived next to ditch diggers and dishwashers. We were all in the same, Bronzeville, in the early days as migrants came from the South, as my parents were that first generation to come here. We were all born in the South, coming to the North and seeing things differently than maybe some of the people that had already been here. But there was a reach out. Some of our organizations, i.e. the Urban League. The Urban League was an organization that was constructed specifically to assimilate those migrants to urban lifestyle, teaching them the ways of the urban existence. We have people that have always reached out to focus on the samenesses and put aside the differences. When you have, in your journalistic career, what have you seen that have been the greatest bridges to cross? Has it been racial barriers? Has it been economic barriers? Has it been cultural differences, north versus south? Have you seen these dichotomies?
I think that one of the biggest things is economics. I think have and have not really diverged, not just in thought process, in, say for instance, the way I think about something versus the way someone else would think about something, the upbringing of different people. There's so many things that kind of can pull us apart. And sometimes we purposely look for differences so that we can say, well, I'm not like this person. Or even a way to think that maybe on an ego level that makes you better. And so when it comes to me as a journalist through my travels and just talking to people, I think that the economics is a big one. Race and ethnicity and background are another one. I think you said it. God created us all in his image. So why are we so stuck on this person is from this background or this race and not looking at the similarities that we have?
Yes. And I am reminded, as you were talking about that, the differences that people point out. Do you remember the movie School Days?
Yes. Oh, okay. I think I know where you're going.
You okay. So let's go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
And this might be something that people that are looking at can relate to. Absolutely insignificant, meaningless differences that people expressed and attitudes that were formed based on what they were thinking.
Are we talking about the good or bad hair?
Yeah, good and bad hair. What were they? The jigaboos and the
wannabes.
and the wannabes. The jigaboos and the wannabes.
Yes.
This to me was a wonderful film that made it apparent to me. I don't know if it was to other people, and I'll ask you, that these differences are meaningless.
Yeah.
They're meaningless.
Right. Yeah.
We have more in common.
Right. Yeah.
People want to be paid attention to. They want to have the sense of acceptance. They want to be appreciated for what they do. They want to give affection and they want to receive affection. And ultimately, they're living their life. They want it to have an approval. How'd that do?
Right.
How did I do?
Yeah.
Whether you're a jigaboo or a wannabe.
Right.
These are constructs that we can see in our lives, in our world, in our affairs, and in our differences, of how those differences are really meaningless when you really get right down to it.
Right.
And so, with the idea of being able to engage people wherever they are, engage. There's something that you have in common with that person that you feel that you would have nothing in common with. Old folks with young folks, black folks with white folks, gay folks with straight folks. There's always something that you can come together and engage that person. I think that if we did this, we would have a world that would be a lot better. Things would be less harsh and less severe, because we see we're all in this together.
Right. Especially if we learn how to lead with love.
Okay. Well, what truths do you need to know today? Do you need to know that you should love your neighbor as you do yourself? We have more churches in our community than any other community per capita. Yet, we are not necessarily espousing those things that are in the book for us to do. So, let's make it a promise today that instead of seeing differences with that coworker, oh, they don't like this, they don't like that, and I like it this way, and let's focus on some samenesses. Let's come to some common grounds. Because when you know that truth will set you free from discord. And where there's no unity, there's no community. And right now, we as a people need to become more cohesive. We need to come together. We have common issues. Let us focus on our samenesses and put aside our differences. I look forward to next week when we have another session of Get Your House in Order. Thank you.
Remember to make plans to join us again next week for Conversations with the Citizen, the place where real news can be heard.